there's new evidence now against Tish James. And this is very interesting. So I'm just going to take a few minutes and tell you about it. So you know this bank, it was like a mortgage fraud case against her. She cares about mortgage fraud. Don't let her tell you she doesn't. She's made a long history now of saying, doesn't matter whether there's a victim, doesn't matter whether there's a bank complaining or who lost any money. All that matters is you committed fraud in the abstract, and that will subject you to liability, in her case, potentially criminal liability. So those are her standards. We're just playing by them. She has argued, we did this on AM Update. Did you hear her denial? She's like, I remain fearless. Like, who calls themselves fearless? I am fearless. Like, a normal person says, I'm not afraid and I'm innocent. She's like, I am fearless, because of course she's got to be this like self-aggrandizing, like just kind of pathetic. I felt uncomfortable reading it. Like, Tish, a fearless person doesn't say, I am fearless. Just don't. Okay, so made me uncomfortable, but there she is. That's her whole thing. She's trying to turn this into like, I am woman, hear me roar. But she's in increasing amounts of trouble. So the MSM will tell you that there's absolutely no case against her. Au contraire, au contraire. We had the former CFO of Crazy Eddie. Remember that? The TV company, Crazy Eddie. He went to jail for a long time on felony fraud charges. And he has since spent, I think, the last 30 years or so working with the white hat on, trying to help people figure out when there is fraud and when there isn't, help the government figure it out in cases. And he took a hard look. He's not even a Democrat. Not even a Republican. He doesn't like Trump. But he took a look at this. And what he found was she's in a lot of deep doo-doo, because she represented one thing to the mortgage company about this home at issue in the Virginia case against her being her secondary residence, meaning she was getting it as a vacation home, basically. And then she was telling the IRS something very different, claiming it as an investment property, which has a different meaning. And let me just put it to you this way. If you get a second home, same as your first home, you can deduct things like your mortgage interest and I think your property taxes from what you pay. I'm not an accountant, but if memory serves, you can deduct those two things from your income taxes, right? Just to show like, I had to pay those things and I don't have to pay on them again. If you buy an investment property, one that you're going to rent out, one that potentially you're going to, resell, whatever, to make the money off of it, that you can deduct a lot more, actually, expenses. I think I wrote this down. Hold on. On an investment property, you can deduct mortgage costs, rental income, insurance, mortgage payments, property tax, and capital gains. So there's a lot that you can deduct on that kind of a property. And we knew when we had the CFO accountant from Crazy Eddie come on, convicted felon, he's quick to admit, he kind of uses it to show you that he does no fraud when he sees it. But he had pulled her IRS filings and he said she's been claiming this house, the one at issue that she told the mortgage brokers would be her secondary residence, as an investment property, which is a legally different animal, for years with the IRS. And he said that right there is going to show the jury, if it gets that far, that she was deceitful. It can't be both at the same time. And it's very clear she did this. She classified them differently depending on what audience she was in front of. And then this comes out in the latest document that was filed against her by the DOJ. Letitia James moved to dismiss for vindictive and selective prosecution. And in response, the DOJ revealed new evidence against her, including a text message marked March 28th, 2024. And it was about how she's taking deductions on, again, what we know is actually an investment property, not a second home, in Virginia, the one at issue in this case. And she texted him saying, this is to her accountant. Okay, her accountant. So this is an IRS filing. And she says, I do not want to take deduction. It looks suspicious. And I need to do everything according to the tax code. So she'd been taking the deduction for years, by the way. For years. The government represents James represented that the Perone residence, that's the one in Virginia, was an investment property in her income taxes, including taking deductions consistent with investment property, not a secondary residence, because that was more tax advantageous to her. These deductions demonstrate that James never occupied nor intended to occupy the Perone residence as the mortgage terms required. That's what she promised the mortgage lender she would do, and she didn't. Defendant continued taking the investment property deductions for several years until in 2024, she told her accountant, I do not want to take deduction. It looks suspicious, and I need to do everything according to the tax code. Now, March of 2024, you've got Donald Trump as the nominee, Joe Biden extremely weak. June of 2024, he would have his meltdown. November of 2024, Trump would be elected. But in March of 2024, the numbers were already spiraling. And there was serious questions about whether Joe Biden could win. And I think she's sensing there is the possibility of a Donald Trump return to office where somebody takes a closer look at my documents. And clearly, she realized that there was a massive inconsistency in what she was doing. One could argue a fraudulent inconsistency in what she was doing. And this will 100% come back to haunt her when her case gets refiled. We'll see if the throwing out gets affirmed on appeal. But even if they affirm the fact that Lindsay Halligan couldn't do this, she's getting reindicted. And by the way, the case against her has only gotten stronger. So a grand jury, I actually do have a lot of faith, will reindict her. And fearless or not, she's going to have her hands full with texts and documents like these. There are a lot of politicians that should be getting coal in their stockings for Christmas, but Birch Gold thinks as a smart planner, you deserve silver. That's why with every $5,000 you purchase between now and December 22nd, Birch Gold will send you an ounce of silver, which is up over 60% this year. See, smart people diversify and have a hedge. That's why you should consider Birch Gold. With the rates cut now from the Fed, in 2026, the dollar will likely be worth less. And what happens if the AI bubble bursts? Let Birch Gold Group help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And for every $5,000 you buy, you will get an ounce of silver for your stocking or for your kids. Just text MK to 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Again, text MK to the number 989898 today because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase promotion ends on December 22nd. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.